comes down to it, I think Spider-Man might be my favorite superhero. I mean, sure, he may not be the most powerful, or the richest, or even the funniest, I guess, but the fact that his stories always have an element of humanity to them has always made them really relatable to me. Like, yeah, he may be able to take on the odds time and time again to bring down high-tech powered bad guys and pull off all these incredible feats, but then he has to go home and take care of his old aunt or worry about homework or whatever. Therefore, today I'm proud to talk about a game that not only lets us embrace the fantasy of being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but also allows us to experience his alter ego as well. Without further ado, let's jump into Marvel's Spider-Man. Unlike many other Spider-Man games which are based off of existing comic book storylines or movies, this game tells a new story not tied to anything. Set in a world where Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 8 years and is now a 23-year-old college graduate, the game begins with our hero helping NYPD Captain Yuri Watanabe finally bring down Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, and put him in prison. However, the victory is short-lived for Peter, as without Fisk at the top, soon all sorts of criminals emerge to not only try and move in on Fisk's territory, but torment the city as well. While some are familiar faces to Peter, such as Shocker, Electro, and Rhino, it is new threats like the mysterious Mr. Negative that really pose a threat to the Webhead's way of life and his title as the city's protector. Having to deal with these threats against the city, as well as more personal issues like being constantly broke, or his relationship with his ex-girlfriend MJ, players definitely have their work cut out for them as both the superhero and the man behind the mask. No, I'm just gonna come right out and say it, but I was really excited when I heard about this game coming out, and having now played through quite a bit of it, I feel that my hype was justified. I mean, honestly, this game just has so much cool stuff going for it. For starters, let's talk about the web swinging. If there's one thing that a Spider-Man game needs to get right, it's the ability to swing around. And luckily, this game nails it. From the moment the game hands control over to you so you can swing on over towards Fisk Tower to arrest him, the controls just feel good. And it's fun to navigate around, not just web swinging, but parkouring off of buildings as well. How fun, you may ask? Well, personally, I found myself swinging around and doing mid-air tricks for like half an hour at a few points, before realizing I should get back to actually doing something. Speaking of which, that brings me to my next point, which is that I love how much there is to do in the game. While there are of course story-driven missions that progress the plot forward, there are also a variety of side missions and collectibles to tackle as well. Whether it's finding and taking pictures of famous landmarks, collecting backpacks with trinkets that tell you about this particular Spider-Man's past, or taking down bases full of thugs, there is always something to keep you occupied. Throw in the fact that random crimes pop up around the city regularly for you to stop, and the map definitely feels like a living, breathing world for you to play around in. Well, this of course brings up the fact that all this open world stuff could feel a bit repetitive after hours and hours of playing. That brings me to another thing I really like about the game, which is the multitude of upgrades and customization. Packed to the brim with a variety of suits, skills, and moves, the game does an excellent job of letting you mix and match stuff to your liking so that no two encounters have to feel the same. While fighting baddies in the beginning of the game may be made up of simple stuff like punching and webbing them up, as you continue playing and unlocking more skills and gadgets, combat becomes an improvisational wonderland filled with acrobatic takedowns and tech galore. This of course brings me to my final point, which is that I absolutely adore how much love seemingly went into the game. While it's not to say that other Spider-Man games are bad or that the heart wasn't there, this game is just so well put together that it reminds me of the Arkham series in terms of raising the bar for superhero-themed video games. Full of references, Easter eggs, and surprisingly enough even a Stan Lee cameo, the way this game pays tribute to the Spider-Man mythos is amazing, and the fact that its story offers a better cinematic experience than some of the Sony films is kinda crazy. Of course, as much as I may like the game, nothing is perfect, and it does indeed have some flaws. For one, whether it's stuff in the environment glitching out or problems with collision, this game does have its technical hiccups every once in a while. Take this scene for instance, where this lady in the museum clips into this cardboard box. Or, said box tries to follow Mary Jane Watson into the bathroom. Pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. Another flaw is that while the open world does have a variety of things to do, some of these things can feel like items on a checklist. The best example of this is probably the different surveillance towers you can restore that, while not a huge hassle or anything, remind you of every single other tower you can unlock in just about every single Ubisoft game ever. Finally, and maybe this is more of a personal thing, but I really didn't like the stealth sequences in this game. That's not to say that they are all bad or anything, but to me it felt like there were just way too many, and some of them were just so unnecessary. While I can see this being done in an effort to mix things up and not let combat get repetitive, they just weren't my thing. Those few flaws aside though, I've immensely enjoyed my time with this game so far, and definitely recommend it. Not only is it just a fun game overall with some great gameplay and an immersive story, but if you're a fan of Spider-Man, then more power to you. Similar to how the Arkham series came and breathed some life into the games based on superheroes genre, by letting us feel like we really were Batman in the world of Gotham, I think Insomniac Games has done a fantastic job of letting us become Spider-Man. If you have a PS4, then I absolutely think that you should check this game out, or at the very least, put it on your to-do list. But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching.